gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Welcome to today's episode. We're diving into the Department of Homeland Security's recent move to cancel its $10 billion IT and software contract for small businesses.
Yeah, that's a huge headline. It's not every day you see a federal agency scrap something of that scale. What do you think triggered it?
From what I've gathered, it seems the process got a bit too tangled. There were protests, delays, and maybe even some confusion about requirements.
It's interesting because $10 billion is no small sum. For small businesses, contracts like this can be game changers. The cancellation must have been a shock.
Definitely. Imagine gearing up for months only to learn the opportunity is off the table. It's like training for a marathon and finding out the race is canceled at the starting line.
That's a good analogy. I wonder how much of this was about the complexity of federal procurement. These processes can get pretty bureaucratic.
Absolutely. The federal government has a reputation for red tape, especially with IT. Balancing innovation and compliance isn't easy.
And small businesses don't always have the resources to navigate that maze. Do you think the system is stacked against them?
In some ways, yes. Larger firms have whole departments just for compliance. Small businesses often juggle multiple roles and can get overwhelmed.
I've heard some say the original contract, First Source 3, was meant to level the playing field for small businesses. But did it work?
That's debatable. The intent was there, but implementation is another story. The repeated protests suggest not everyone felt it was fair.
Protests seem common in federal contracting. Is it just part of the game now?
Unfortunately, yes. When billions are on the line, companies will fight hard for their chance. But too many protests can grind things to a halt.
So after the cancellation, what's next? DHS says it'll reassess. Do you think they'll come back with a better plan?
I hope so, but it might take time. They need to rebuild trust and clarify the process. Maybe even rethink how they structure these contracts.
I'm curious. Do you think the technology needs of DHS are changing so fast that big long-term contracts don't make sense anymore?
That's a great point. Tech evolves so quickly. A decade-long contract can be outdated by year 2. Flexibility is key.
It makes you wonder if smaller, more agile contracts could work better. Like break it into smaller chunks and get results faster.
Sort of like a subscription model for government IT. Monthly updates instead of buying a decade's worth upfront.
Exactly. And maybe that would help small businesses compete too. Less upfront risk, more chances to prove themselves.
But federal agencies love their long-term deals. It gives them predictability, even if it's not always the most efficient.
True. And there's always the question of oversight. Smaller contracts mean more vendors to manage, more paperwork.
Which circles back to the bureaucracy problem. It's a tough balance. Innovation versus oversight, agility versus control.
Speaking of oversight, the Government Accountability Office was involved in the protests. They must have a busy schedule.
They do. Their job is to make sure the process is fair, but sometimes their involvement slows things down even more.
I can see why small businesses get frustrated. It's like being stuck in traffic, and every time you move forward, there's another stoplight.
Perfect metaphor. And for tech companies, timing is everything. Delays can mean missing out on big opportunities.
I wonder if DHS could learn from the private sector. Tech companies love pilot programs and rapid prototyping.
That could be a game changer. Start small, see what works, then scale up. Less risk, more feedback.
But changing the culture in government is hard. There's a lot of inertia.
True. And politics sometimes plays a role. High-profile contracts attract attention from all sides.
I can imagine lawmakers are watching this closely. $10 billion is a lot of taxpayer money.
Exactly. Any mistake gets magnified. It's a high-wire act balancing transparency, value, and speed.
Do you think this cancellation will discourage small businesses from bidding on future contracts?
It might, at least in the short term. If the process is seen as unpredictable, some may not bother.
On the other hand, maybe the reassessment will lead to clearer rules and better communication.
That's the optimistic view. Transparency and feedback could make a big difference.
I've heard some suggestions for improving federal IT procurement, like using more commercial off-the-shelf software.
That's smart. Why reinvent the wheel? Off-the-shelf products can be cheaper and faster to deploy.
But then there's the issue of security. Government agencies have unique needs.
Right? Balancing security with cost and speed is tricky. Custom solutions are tempting, but they come with their own risks.
I wonder if there's a middle ground, customizing commercial solutions rather than building from scratch.
That could work, Modular approaches let agencies pick and choose what they need and adapt as technology changes.
It's funny. This whole story is about technology, but the real challenge seems to be people and processes.
Couldn't agree more. Tech is the easy part. It's getting everyone on the same page that's hard.
Do you think DHS will face pressure to move faster, given all the cybersecurity threats out there?
Absolutely. Cybersecurity waits for no one. Delays can leave agencies exposed.
Maybe that'll be the catalyst for change. Security needs forcing a rethink of these long, complicated contracts.
Possibly. Sometimes it takes a crisis to drive real progress.
But hopefully not a security crisis. Prevention is always better than reaction.
For sure. It's better to have a system that adapts rather than scramble in panic mode.
So do you think this cancellation is just a bump in the road, or a sign of bigger changes ahead?
I'd say it's both. It's a setback, but also an opportunity to rethink how federal IT contracts are done.
Maybe in a few years, we'll look back and see this as a turning point.
Let's hope so. Nobody wants to see good ideas stuck in paperwork limbo.
Speaking of paperwork, I read that some businesses spent months preparing proposals. That's a huge investment for nothing.
Exactly. It's not just lost time, but resources that could have gone elsewhere.
Maybe DHS should offer some feedback or even compensation for those efforts.
That could build goodwill. At least acknowledge the hard work, even if the contract didn't pan out.
I think more communication overall would help. Keeping businesses in the loop goes a long way.
Transparency is key. Surprises benefit no one, especially when billions are involved.
Do you think artificial intelligence could improve the procurement process? Like, automate some of the paperwork?
That's an interesting idea. AI could streamline reviews and flag potential issues early.
But then you'd need oversight to make sure the AI isn't biased or missing something important.
Exactly. Technology can help, but humans need to stay in the loop.
It's a bit like autopilot on a plane. Useful, but you still want a pilot up front.
Great analogy. And in federal contracting, that pilot has to be ready for turbulence.
So, for small businesses listening, what's the takeaway? Should they keep chasing federal contracts?
I'd say yes, but go in with eyes open. Understand the risks, build relationships, and be ready for twists and turns.
And maybe look for smaller contracts as stepping stones. Get experience before going for the big fish.
That's solid advice. Incremental wins can build credibility and expertise.
Any final thoughts on the DHS decision?
It's disappointing, but not the end of the story. If anything, it's a chance to build a better system.
Agreed. Maybe this is the wake-up call everyone needed. Change is hard, but it's necessary.
And for our listeners, what do you think? Should federal agencies rethink their approach to IT contracts?
Let us know your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for more insights on government tech.
Thanks for watching. I'm Nancy, your AI avatar. If you like this podcast, you can get one for yourself based on a website, YouTube video, or any source. Contact me to get a customized quote for your content. See you soon.